System 1 loaded.
The GoreCast is brought to you by American Horrors, the greatest uncut horror channel in the world. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all horror. As well as the station of decapitation without your head.
America's longest running horror channel, www.withoutyourhead.com.
The following program is rated TV MAL. It contains strong language and is intended only for mature audiences. Viewer discretion advised.
GoreCast, welcome back to the GoreCast with me, Johnny Deadly, the kids, Carter, and all of the Puzzles family puzzles. All of the young fit trunks are here.
I was going to call them the Buzz Clan.
It's been a fun
I'm
for the.
I'm trying to keep it canon with the American Horror Show, so it's the Youngkin Trunks.
Yeah, this one just wants to see himself on TV, so I think he's going to watch himself on the phone. So
that's fine. Hello, TV me. How are you? I won't lie to you, Hunter. If it's any consolation, I'm nearly 40, and I occasionally do that, where it's like, "Oh, hello, Johnny. How are you? You're looking dapper."
What do you mean occasionally? I do it all the time.
Anyway, first and foremost, Happy New Year to everybody, and Sláinte to the people from Ireland, and well, Sláinte to people in general. I'm not going to just exclude anybody. Yeah. Happy New Year. We were supposed to do this show on Christmas Eve, but a lot of horror-related editing stopped it. So unfortunately, apologies for that. But I thought it would be a very nice way for us all to round off what's been a pretty bummer year, to be honest, for everyone in the world, inclusively. And I thought we'd end 2020 and start 2021 with a slightly upbeat vibe, and very much playing into the Unplugged part of the GoreCast Unplugged thing, because we got, unlike the TV warning gave you at the start of the show, this will be family friendly as the children are around, and also because we're doing a whole bunch of kids movies / Die Hard.
Die Hard is a kids movie. I watched it when I was a kid.
Like, I mean,
It's a kids. There's a kids at heart kind of thing.
Well, like, I won't lie to you. If you don't mind some foul language, I mean, there isn't even that much foul language in it. There's a chunk. I mean, there's like one nudity scene. I mean, there's a 15 Die Hard that's very palatable for the younger children. But anyway, we will be covering today Die Hard, we will be covering Home Alone, another festive classic, and we're going to be covering Giz's favourite movie to put on during the festive season, A Muppet's Christmas Carol, starring Michael Caine and, more importantly, Miss Piggy. Damn straight, Hunter. That's the enthusiasm I like to see at the start of a show. But keeping with the horror vibe temporarily, as is also... most importantly, don't forget the thing that we got rolling and are going to bring it into 21. What would Keanu Reeves do? 2021, hashtag. Before that, we have some news bits. Two are horror related and one is not. So First up, I don't know what these news bits are. I'm able to kind of roughly surmise by the image that news bit 1 is something to do with Alita Battle Angel. I'm assuming I'm going to say sequel.
Yes.
Okay.
Basically, since the first movie came out, and the first movie came out based on the old anime series and manga Battle Angel Alita, or Gali, which is basically a big old proper, like, high concept cyberpunk epic. Now, the comics are long and awesome and have lots of really cool fights. And the film the first movie gave us kind of a taste of that, and
Little flavor.
really kind of really exemplified how far we've gotten insofar as visual dynamic, because it's a film that people have been wanting to see for a long time, especially fans of the anime. So I think it was Robert Rodriguez was recently talking with Forbes, and they were talking about a possible sequel. And he said, I think anything is possible. Disney bought Fox, and they have Disney Plus. So that is worth the conversation. I know other people would love to see another, and I would love to do another one. As far as where it would go or how it would be made, I think streaming has opened up many opportunities, such as sequels. It's already got a pre-sold concept. It's already got a built-in audience who want to see it. Yep. And then it's delivered to them in a way that's easiest for them to consume. So it's not a bad idea. Basically, all of this culminates, like I said, in the fact that originally Battle Angel Alita was envisioned to be the start of, I think, a series of films. Certainly there's more than enough content there. Like I said, there's actually 2 comics. There's one comic, and then there's a second comic that runs longer that basically goes,
novels,
what if this had happened? Yeah, based on the graphic, it was a long-running comic originally that then got collected into graphic novels. Right. But like I said, there's one that even basically goes up to a point and then goes, what if this had happened instead? And takes Alita in a completely different direction. So there's lots of stuff they can draw from, including the fact that
Alita What If series.
Or even just with the regular stuff. Like I said, there's an epic amount of content, and they've already built in Edward Norton as Nova, who we saw at the end of it with the kind of cool spectacles.
I'll watch him in anything. Good old Eddie Norton.
I would love to see where things go next for it, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
Okay, so Katie said she saw it and she liked it.
I liked it.
I haven't seen it. I did the whole what's the girl's name that did Ghost in the Machine? Scarlett Johansson. Yeah. I did Ghost in the Machine. I kind of was like, oh, yeah, cool. Not doing this again. So when Battle Angel came through, I was like,
Battle Angel Alita was a lot more. The thing with Ghost in the Machine was what they did was they focused more on recreating these scenes from the anime in cinematic version and completely ignored all of the story that surrounded it.
Exactly. And I mean, like, I wasn't trying to like put that hate off on a film that I hadn't seen yet, but it was just one of those like, I really don't like. I'm just not in that place to like see something else ruined right yet. So I just kind of kept putting it off.
There was also, I think, like, I mean, the whole cyberpunk thing wasn't as big now. I feel like with Cyberpunk 2077, the game and all of that coming out, and a lot more people are getting submerged in that kind of culture. I think if it had come out now instead of back then, it might have been received a little bit more popularly.
You mean Ghost in the Shell or Battle Angel Alita? One of the things that went against that was the fact that they basically did something that they said they were to do, which was to kind of whitewash the film, to use a Hollywood term.
Yeah,
and then
that really set a lot of people.
And then they turned around and they integrated that into the story in such a way that made very little sense. Whereas with Battle Angel Alita, they took the original story. They made some adjustments, admittedly, but speaking as a fan of the anime, I thought this was a very good live action rendition. A couple of things
very faithful, yeah.
They did. Yeah, there was a couple of things that it differently. Yeah, a couple of things that it differently, but fair enough, make it their own. At the end of it, the good fights are there. The scenes that we want to see are there, and the heart of the story is there. So I'm definitely up for a sequel.
I love how Buzz is like in the corner trying to explain the format of the show. We don't talk while Giz is doing the news bits, and then we just move into the movies.
I literally said, "This is the news bit." We sit back and listen.
I could see the conversation happening. It's very good.
So worth checking out then.
Definitely the live action film. Yeah, man.
Even if you haven't seen the anime or anything, it's definitely like it's a really good movie. I quite enjoyed it.
Even if you have seen the anime, it's a good adaptation.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
Right. Next up, we have, from what I understand, there is a new Resident Evil movie in production, or should I say, just finished production.
Yes. Apparently, Johan Roberts' kind of dark origin-like version of Resident Evil has finished filming.
Oh, very good.
The cast is set to include Kaya Scodelario, there we go, Hannah John Kamen, Robbie Amell, Tom Hooper,
nice.
Ava Yoga.
Is that an Amell brother?
Yes. It's
Code 8.
Do you remember the original Firestorm?
Yes. Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah. So, along with Neil McDonald, additionally, Donald Logue is set to play Chief Irons, the origin story adaptation of the games that's set in Raccoon City.
I love him.
So,
in literally everything.
It's an interview, I believe, with Roberts himself. With this movie, I really wanted to go back to the original first two games and recreate the terrifying, visceral experience I had when I first played them, whilst at the same time telling a grounded human story about a small, dying American town that feels both relatable and relevant to today's audiences. That was a statement made by Robert.
It's a little bit like the Crazies meets Resident Evil.
This is going to be like a prequel to everything going south in Raccoon City.
What basically, this is going to go back to the original games, which I think so the first one, isn't that pretty much what it was?
The first one was in the mansion.
The first one is in the mansion before everything's hit the town. Then Shiz goes south in the mansion, and game 2 is the town's completely infested.
Yeah,
Right.
so I imagine this film will be primarily the mansion.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
I think-
it won't be if Donald Logue is playing that police officer, because that's Resident Evil 2. I'd say if it's a dark origin kind of thing, they're probably going to merge storyline 1 in with storyline 2 a little bit.
Possible.
Or pick up kind of from where, because you see, one of the benefits with the Resident Evil franchise when you're doing a movie is it's so well known that you can kind of pick up from any particular point, and people can kind of reference on. It's why people got thrown by the original Resident Evil series, because they were kind of like, this is not canon.
Yeah, right.
Nope. I don't remember any of this going on whatsoever.
I remember we did that as a news bit like a month or two ago, where they announced Donald Logue was going to be that character. And I think I read that exact same quote from the director, but they were still obviously filming.
I think they were only starting production, if memory serves me correctly.
Yeah, they were just, like I said, this was a couple months ago, so they're in the middle of production or whatever, or just started back production.
I'm now confused because weren't we talking about like Netflix doing like a Resident Evil show or something?
Yeah, an animated.
They are.
Okay.
I don't know.
Because it seemed like there was a bunch of like Resident Evil news bits that we were doing. Like, like a bunch of new stuff was coming out.
They've got a new game coming out. This is why.
So, I don't know. Like, it sounds cool. I'll definitely check it out.
Right.
And if, sitting there going, oh, I want to get back to this, and this, I at least appreciate that. So I'm going to check it out just for that part. Because
as much as I have to visit our Resident Evil franchise review, we got an entry, guys.
Because, I mean, like, as much
you want
as I
to see
like watching...
if you want to watch two men get progressively angrier as a review goes on, watch the Resident Evil reviews.
Yeah, I was all piss and vinegar at the beginning, and then I just became piss off. I'm sorry, that's bad language. I was mad. Daddy was angry. Don't watch anything from December of the GoreCast.
Nope.
Because I was very angry.
He's very angry. Anyway, next up, that's Willard for some reason. Next up, while I figure out what's going on here, I don't know why that happened. Maybe I'll put it in as a news bit.
I will say it's cool seeing Robbie Emile get some more stuff, though. I'm liking what he's doing with Code 8.
Right, next up, there's a picture of Wishmaster in front of me, and anyone who listens to the show will know I think he's an unsung hero of horror. He doesn't get enough credit that he's supposed to get. And before I get too angry and start using words I shouldn't for the children, Giz, what's the news bit about?
Actually, funnily enough, that exact injustice getting righted.
God damn, I'm so happy right now.
Yes, over 20 years after the release of The Wishmaster, it seems that he's finally going to be getting a novelization based on the original screenplay.
Books.
No.
Books, yeah.
No, I don't mind. I'm down for
my eyeballs. I don't want to read. Like,
dude, sometimes it's nice to.
What the? I will.
Sometimes, hey,
I don't
dude,
want to
if
read.
people some people don't like. I don't.
Movies,
I'm going to shock you, right?
Okay,
I have
you know
no
what?
problem reading the novel myself. I don't mind throwing my creepy lights on in the background and having a nice get the atmosphere going. Or sometimes I'll throw on some Kenny G, get a horror novel and hop in the bathtub. Who knows? Just chill out. Throw some candles on.
Cannot. We cannot relax that
hang
much.
on.
It's a nice contrast, you see, because you're
Bear with
super
me.
relaxed, and then when a scary bit happens in the novel, you're proper like, whoa! I nearly dropped my book in the bathtub. Oh.
Or, if you bear with me for a minute, right? Apparently, Encyclopocalypse Publications are going to be bringing out the
Awesome
novelization, which is being written by Christian Francis and is based on the original screenplay by
What's great?
Atkins.
Oh, it's screenplay.
Peter Atkins. There we go. It's based on the original screenplay by Peter Atkins. Now, here's the thing. It's going to be getting released January 31st, 2021 in paperback and for Kindle. However, and here's the character of interest to you, it will also be getting an audiobook release. So you don't need to worry about, straining your eyeballs with the terrible, terrible chore of reading a goddamn book.
If they want to. Genie Mac.
I'm old and the print's so small nowadays, dude. I can't help it.
Also,
You can get like a
Kindles, you can expand the
for any
print.
of
It's
the
great.
regulars in the chat, you're going to see a lot of language you've never heard come out of my mouth before to try and replace.
This is PG, Johnny.
PG,
But I'm
Johnny.
also
Sorry,
kinda like-
it's just
Send the kids in and
when
I'll
reading
make
is
some-
thought of as a
make some
chore,
arts
that's when I
and
have to
crafts,
step in.
and then I'll make some
It's not a chore. It's more like a punishment. Like, I just...
This is my point.
Kids,
It should
Not
be
a
a
chore,
pleasure.
though.
kids.
Because
Should.
If he doesn't,
That's why I like comics. I get a picture, get a couple lines, I get a picture, get a couple lines.
Yeah.
It's just, it flows
kids,
easier
people
that
are
way.
allowed to not like reading novels if they want.
All right,
Okay.
fine.
Dude, I used to love reading, but then, like, once my ADD kicked in, I just could not sit down and like read like I used to.
if it's a nice thick book, then I will buy it as another piece for my microphone stand, like all my other books. So there you go.
Just because I happen to be using thick books as
I-
a stand right now does not take away from the fact that I've also read all of them. Therefore, it's validated.
Could you
I mean, like,
really? I can't grab it because I can't move because there's too many people by me. Look at this book. God damn it. Cover your ears, children.
Earmuffs, kids.
Look at this book. Look how thick this book is.
Pick of awesomeness.
I'm
Was that it?
not this. Why do I have it? I don't know.
Was that it?
Look at how
Was
thick
that
these books
was
are.
that it?
Look at how thick those books are.
oh,
Okay.
This is it. That's the only reason why I have
When
it.
did this turn into a tick measuring contest?
All right, everybody. If we're doing that now, I mean.
You will lose.
God damn, I can't put it back.
The two Irish boys are hung. I'll just let you know.
I had some. I was gonna say something that you guys are probably gonna turn it into something nasty, so I'm not gonna say it.
I probably won't because your children are present, but you will see me probably have to kind of slowly gulp it back down my throat to stop it coming out of my mouth.
I was gonna say I have a little Irish in me, so
Do you? Okay. Well, it's not from this. It's not from these two Irish lads because it wouldn't be a little bit Irish. I'll put it that way.
thick.
You'll be feeling the Irish spirit properly.
Oh,
Anyway. God.
the G rating is getting further.
Yeah. I've never so
PG-13 right now.
I've never. You're gonna have to get them to earmuff for a minute. I've never so PG said I'd essentially sexually assault one of my co-hosts. That came out. God damn. Okay. Anyway, moving on before this goes any here. Yeah.
There is a reason I have not spoken for the last 5
I know.
minutes.
I think I handled it. I think I handled it quite delicately. So, anyway, moving on swiftly. Yeah, Wishmaster novel. I'll be getting that. I'm down with that. I like Wishmaster.
Yeah.
He's terribly
Yeah.
unsung. I don't get the hate. What? Oh God, excuse me. Got the
Honestly,
mini
it's because the sequels did him injustice.
boss. Yeah,
True,
yeah. Well,
As the sequel films went on, the stories deteriorated and it just...
yeah. Well, I wouldn't agree with that wholeheartedly.
really?
There was one of them in the middle that was pretty good, and I think number 2 was okay.
I
There's
think
only
only
4 films.
So I
I
don't
thought there was
have-
just
Yeah, so that's like more than 50% of them are good. 75% if you want to be precise. If memory served me correctly. I remember this came up. It wasn't this year. I think it came up at some stage. I think it was, or maybe it was this year. I went on a Wishmaster rant on American Horrors at one stage, and then I was kind of like, do you know what? I actually haven't watched those in ages, and then I did the 4 of them back to back. I do remember the 4th one being horrible.
Oh, there's 4 of them. Holy cow.
Yeah, there's 4.
I don't think I saw the 4th one.
If memory serves me correctly.
That's kind of how I felt about the 3rd one.
Okay, well, maybe it's the 3rd one is don't, and the 4th one is okay. I can't remember what order my hatred was.
Because it's Wishmaster, then it's Evil Never Dies, Beyond the Gates of Hell, and then the Prophecy Fulfilled.
No, 4 is terrible, I think.
Oh,
yeah. The Prophecy Fulfilled was bad, if memory served me correctly. 2 was... I thought 3 was fine, and I enjoyed 2, I think, if memory serves me correctly. I will agree, like, he's a terribly underused character, even in those movies. The kind of potential for having a demonic djinn walking around the place causing havoc with people really didn't get used as well as it could have. Anyway.
I honestly thought he deserved to kind of get up in that icon status with a lot of the other horrors, but you just hardly ever see him in there and stuff. But I got to go with Giz. It was just the movies just really did not help.
For the most part, maybe. I can't say. Look, we're allowed to disagree, Johnny. That's the thing. That's your motto. You know, it's what makes the show interesting. Not everyone has to be on the same page.
All you got to think is everybody has an opinion. They may be wrong, but they have an opinion.
Yeah, I like that. That's perfect. We'll stick with that one.
You're welcome.
We'll stick with that one.
I'll expect that.
Anyway, first up, I do believe I'm just getting some. Oh yeah. Okay. Sorry if this freezes for a second, because as you all might know from before Christmas, my computer is a little bit messed up at the moment, and sometimes when I try to do things, it goes against me.
I definitely would be against like a Wishmaster reboot.
Yes, I won't lie to you. As not upset as I am about it being a novel, when I saw the picture, I did pee in happiness a little bit, because I was like, oh my God, are they rebooting it? I'm so down.
Right.
Consider
that's what I thought.
Enough, maybe they will.
Oh, that's
right.
true.
Anyway, first up, moving on swiftly, or swiftly moving along, whichever way you want to look at it. We have the 1988 classic and the launch of the career of Bruce Willis, Die Hard. So much of a launch of the career.
Some of the best.
So much of a launch of the career as Bruce Willis was they didn't think he'd actually sell the look of Bruce Willis, because back in 1988 your action stars were kind of Van Damme, you had Stallone, you had Schwarzenegger, then you had Ickle Bitty Bruce Willis.
Lundgren maybe, or was he still
who? Dolph Lundgren never stopped, bro. He's been a hard man since the day he was born.
Now he just does it like direct to video.
Yeah, but some of his direct to video stuff is awesome. Don't Kill It was direct to video. And are you? Don't people are allowed to have different opinions, Johnny? Calm down.
He's being mean. He's being mean.
I was like, I poured too much into my drink.
Okay, that's
what
fine, because Don't Kill It's brilliant.
It was not. No, I was not downing the Lundgren direct to video films by any means.
Well, so I can't comment for all of them, but Don't Kill It was definitely awesome.
Hey, He-Man and
awesome idea.
Now, here's what we're going to do, because another lesson I learned is that YouTube likes shutting us down for playing trailers that we're completely legally entitled to play. But I do believe if I put a big honking Die Hard across the middle of the screen, clunk, that should stop any issues happening. Fingers crossed.
That was kind of...
Fingers crossed. And as long as I don't go on another Bloomhouse rant, it should be fine.
Yeah, I was going to say. It's like, was it the trailer or was it the Bloomhouse rant? They kind of happen.
I won't lie to you. The coincidental timing of me freaking out about Bloomhouse and the stream getting pulled, I was a little bit like, But But that would mean that someone high up in YouTube and who evidently works for Blumhouse was watching the show. So call me crazy. I don't think that's what it was. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, Die Hard. Where was I? Oh, yes. They were so not confident in Bruce Willis's ability to shift people's butts into seats in the cinema because compared to your general action stars of the 80s, he was a little bitty dude. Do you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. He was ripped and everything, but he was normal size ripped. But damn, did that get proven wrong when it hit cinemas in Christmas of 1988 because it was amazing. And as I said,
he was kind of everything.
He was which?
I like Bruce Willis, but to me, like, this is one of my favorite of his films. And I mean, like, he's done a lot of genre-based comedies and stuff like that, but this is like, if I want to sit down with Bruce Willis, like, this is my go-to.
Oh, yeah, darn tootin'. If you're going to sit down with anybody, go for their best. Do you know what I mean? And this is definitely one of Bruce Willis's best movies.
Oh, yeah.
But tells the story of John McLane, who's a New York cop who's going to visit his estranged wife and kids during Christmas. Are you all right, kids?
Yeah, I was going to say, like, you should spit it on something, dude.
What is it?
It just feels like it's choked.
You okay?
What? Yeah, no, I'm good. It's just I did an awful lot of last minute research there a couple of seconds ago and learned an awful lot of stuff.
Okay, no, go on. I did my little poster facts, so you're entitled to drop some facts down as well.
Well, it's interesting that the film is actually based on a novel that came out less than 10 years earlier. I don't know. To be perfectly honest, a lot of the story structure. Well, like it's an adaptation of the novel that got turned into the film Die Hard. They kept an awful lot of the stuff, but they changed an awful lot of the stuff.
Well, it was a secret agent movie initially, wasn't it? Or a secret agent novel.
No, not at all.
Sure?
The story is very much. Yeah, I'm looking at it right here, man. The story is very much the same. Joe Leland is a retired NYP detective or New York cop who's in Los Angeles to visit his daughter, who is named Gennaro, who is working for some oil corporation. So they end up with a bunch of German auto-mirror terrorists hitting the place the way that Hans Gruber did. It's actually a guy named Anton Gruber is the head of the crew. A lot of the stuff in the story is in the films, except the ending is completely fracking different. But even Al Powell is on the outside, the character Al Powell and the police chief, Dwayne Robinson. The two of them are actually taken directly from their names.
Dwayne the Rock Robinson? Okay. Anyway.
Sure I don't.
I'm
pretty sure I don't.
I didn't know that there was a story before that then.
Sadly, Carter, 90% of Hollywood movies came from a book.
That's not a sad
thing.
Anyway, Die Hard, 1988, the movie, not the novel. John McLane, not Strickland Leland. Why, were you about to say something? I heard silence, so I continued on.
No, I'm being smart at
Okay, anyway.
Oh, yeah, no. Buzz got plenty to say tonight, apparently.
Who, me? What?
No,
right. I'm confused. Do I need to stop while someone says something, or will I continue?
No, you said,
we're good.
You made the comment about most movies come from books, and I said, yeah, you would know, Carter, if you read the books.
Right.
That's being smart.
Yeah.
And then he gave me a dirty look, and then my child was running in and out of the room, and then I got all distracted.
Anyway, John McClane's a New York cop who's on his way. He's going to visit his estranged wife and kids during the holiday season. Before he goes to visit the kids, he goes to the wife's office party, which is a torture in itself, I suppose. But upon arriving at the office party, he's a little bit jet-lagged. He's hanging out in a room on his own. He takes his shoes off. Keep note of that, because it's crucial to the plot. Get some jet lag going, because one of the guys in the office is like, evidently, if you take your shoes off and you just rub your toes on a nice fan rug, it'll help you relax and get de-jet lagged. That's not the part you need to focus on, by the way, but I just thought I'd fill you in on that. Lo and behold, it's not going to turn out to be a normal Christmas party, because some German terrorists, I'm doing that technically, with loads of terrorist reasons, for coming over are trying to take over the Nakatomi building and have some hostages to try and get some of their friends who've been locked up unfairly around the world for doing protests out of prison. So they say. Led by the man who is almost eviler than Skeletor, Hans Gruber. And then an entire slew of action movie 80s awesomeness happens as John McLane is the one man that can take down 25, maybe 30 dudes in the most entertainingly one-liner fueled fashion that only John McLane can do.
80s.
Yippie Ki, mother lovers. Yep.
You know, this movie is so iconic that there are at least 2 or 3 different TV shows and cartoons I can think of that did episodes directly inspired by this film, to the point that there are lines put into it that are like, you know, paraphrased.
I would like you to elaborate on that comment, please, Gizzles.
Con Air from Transformers Animated, Optimus Prime stuck in a vent crawling through. Come on to the ship, help them transport some Decepticons. It'll be a good time.
That is winning. I love that. I love that. I also have to ask, how big of a freaking air vent? How big of a freaking air vent is it for Optimus Prime to be?
It was a Cybertronian
Oh, right,
ship.
okay. So it's like normal air vent, but in already Cybertronian sizes. Got it.
Robot form.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. I thought it happened. I thought it happened on planet Earth for a minute, and I was like, "Where are they building air vents?"
Still
Yeah, that ain't,
still a tight squeeze though.
that ain't
still a
happening.
tight squeeze. That was the whole point. He was like in like this, kind of going, So you know.
Continue. More elaborate. I would
that
like some
movie
more.
inspired
I would like some more examples, please, because these are entertaining.
Star Trek, Jean-Luc Picard basically did that on the Enterprise when a bunch of criminals took it over in an attempt to steal warp drive matter, while the rest of his crew were transported down to a planet.
Please tell me they called it Star Trek Trek Hard.
Pretty sure they called it Starship Mine.
Oh, goddamn. Trek Hard would have been such a good name for the episode.
Dude, Stargate did it in a great episode, Bad Guys, where the crew transported onto that world, couldn't get the gate activated, soon realized they were in the middle of a Smegging museum.
Wasn't me. So happy.
Middle of a Smegging museum, which is itself in the middle of not so much a civil war, but a tense political situation. So when people with guns arrive, everyone thinks they're terrorists, and only one person possibly believes it could be a transport. And so you have one security guard thinking he's John. There's even a line of, "We got a diehard on our hands." And someone's like, "What?" Theo turns around, John McLane. And it's just, it's hilarious. Really good.
Roddy, welcome to the chat. Also, actually, very rudely, we forgot to say Sweet Rabbit, hello, and Katie McNeil, hello, and
Hello.
whoever else is in the chat, hello, because there's people there, but not.
It's mainly been me and Carter, other people, just them.
There's 7 there. So,
Yep.
whoever the other people are, hello as well.
That movie did it. It has inspired them, and like you still see TV shows and what have you. They just pop off that quick one line, say Big Bang Theory or something.
If it's any TV show that's heavily Die Hard influenced, it has to be Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh yeah,
like he's a self-confessed super Die Hard fan in the thing. Like there's one stage where, dude,
he's constantly bringing up the tower.
Do you remember the episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine where they were? Oh my God, they were actually going to try and they were stalking down this perp and they had to go to New York, or they had to go to wherever the real Nakatomi building is to find him. He was like, "Please, before you go to arrest him, please, please, please." And they're like, "Yes, we bring you to Nakatomi Towers." And there's an entire montage of Jake Peralta just running around like a kid in a candy store, even with Peralta, or even with the police chief. And he's like, "Okay, you need to be Hans and I'm going to be John McLane." He's like, "I want to be John McLane." He's like, "You are not John McLane." So good.
Dude, like their wedding cake even wanted it to be the tower.
Yeah, on the top of their wedding cake was the Nakatomi Plaza, and himself and Amy are standing on either side of it. So good. So good. Die Hard is one of those weird... It's also oddly, a very oddly divisive movie around Christmas time, which is one of the reasons I wanted to throw it on the list, because for some reason people think it's not a Christmas movie.
At all. It's a Christmas movie.
All right. Let's see what the children think. Hunter, Die Hard, is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
It should be called Trouble. It might blow off your earphones. Well, actually, no, it should not be called.
You might want to put your earmuffs on, Hunter. I got some words.
Oh!
I said no wrong.
No, he said earmuffs because he's going to swear at you.
Okay.
I can't swear that kitty's too adorable. You're wrong. Die Hard's a Christmas movie, Hunter. We're gonna.
He said the movie should be called Trouble because it blew his eardrums.
All right, but that's fair enough. Well, it's an applicable title. I can't deny that.
80s cartoons would have blown your eardrums, kid. Transformers was nothing but explosions.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, the thing with Die Hard is when people say it's not a Christmas movie, if you really go down to the bare bones of the plot, none of the things that happen throughout the movie could have taken place without Christmas there. Christmas is literally the key component, the key catalyst that sets everything off in this delightful little cinematic, explosive-fueled, Bruce Willis infused movie.
And I don't understand how there's like so much confusion. We're dodging bullets. There's Christmas trees in the background. Like it just,
dude. Even
everything
when he
about
kills
it,
one of the
except for, like,
terrorists,
snow
the
and
message he
Santa
sends down goes "Ho ho ho! I've got a machine gun."
Right.
Exactly.
Even all the rap music that what's the limo driver's name? Yeah, even all the rap music that Argyle's doing. It's all big famous rappers doing Christmas songs or Christmas covers.
Yeah, it was Run DMC.
Right.
It's Christmas time in Hollis, Queens. That's all I remember.
Ripped Christmas.
That's on there. And it's got the dad from Family Matters on it.
Oh, dude, as a cop. Like, that was even better.
Yeah. I mean, and it's got rest in peace. There you go, Alan Rickman. Amazing.
Yeah, he's so good. He's so good. Like nearly eviler than Skeleton.
The very best at being a bad guy.
Yeah.
I like how he did this movie, and then it was just like, you are a bad guy from now on, Alan Rickman, and it was like, all right.
The voice.
Let me just briefly for a second. Yes, Roddy, the new Transformers cartoon on Netflix is awesome.
Yeah, go on. Sorry.
When Rickman showed up on the screen, I was like, "Man, he is a youngin' there." Because he was
you handsome
like,
devil.
Then I was like,
handsome
ooh.
devil, should I say?
Handsome.
It's a Hans pun.
puns.
I've been reading Christmas cracker jokes for like the last week and a half, so the caliber of my comedy stylings might be downhill a little bit more than usual.
Just briefly, I want to say hi to Bill, who came in.
Yeah,
Happy New Year, Bill.
So I'm in there.
Cheers to the
What's up, Bill?
cheers to
Happy New Year
the
to you.
cheers to the Billster.
It's actually interesting. Do you know the way there's a character that survives at the end of the film, and
Yes.
it's Carol. He comes out with
Yes.
the machine. At the end of the book, it's actually Hans that comes out and goes on a
Can I say,
shooting spree.
in the book, did Hans get dropped off the top of Nakatomi Towers?
No, but then again, Hans wasn't in charge. Tony wasn't. He got dropped off the top of Nakatomi Towers.
Because I was just wondering, because I was
Anton.
like, I don't see Hans, like, I like the novel, I like the concept and everything, but I feel it's slightly unrealistic.
No, I was just saying, the name of the character that survives that survives to shoot people at the end of the book is Hans, and it's Anton Gruber that gets kicked off the top. So it's weird how they took the names and just swapped them around.
That's just lazy adaptiveness by Hollywood, isn't it? It was like, we could come up with new names, or we could just take this guy's first name, stick it on this guy's last name. Yeah, that seems like a much easier plan. And also, let's go find some really stereotypical German names to fit out the background.
Franco?
It's not really a stereotypical German name.
But it was one of the names of the terrorists. That's my
And
point.
they weren't all German either.
No, they were not.
Because I'm looks like American to me.
Yes, because he was.
What did he say?
Two of them, at least, were American.
Oh, did he say they all looked American to me?
No, he said at least one of them sounded American to me.
All of
It sounded
them.
good.
You see, he was paying way more attention to the movie than you thought he was, or Buzz.
I can't because
there was one American guy. He was the security dude at the front desk.
The movie was loud.
And also technically Hans Gruber does the American accent as well for the chunk in the middle of the movie. Any other comments on Die Hard? Peeps.
If
I love
somehow
it.
you've not seen it, you should.
Oh yes.
Yeah, how has nobody seen Die Hard yet?
I don't know, but we work with Buzz, and he only watches stuff unless we make it.
No,
so,
hang on, hang
that out there.
Hang on,
you haven't,
hang on.
You should.
Buzz there's certain horror genre and subgenre movies that people that are mad into horror or mad into subgenre movies would be like, you need to see this movie. All of the normal movies that you're like, everyone's seen this movie, Buzz has seen, to the best of my knowledge.
No, because like outside of horror, like me and him still talk about like action or stuff like that. And he's like,
okay,
no.
give me an example.
Oh crap! What was it? It was some sort of action film. It was recent. What the fuck was that? It seemed like it was big, like kind of John Wick, but I cannot remember what we were talking about.
The Fast and the Furious. I haven't seen John Wick either.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe it was John Wick that we were talking about.
Yeah, but like I wouldn't call that like as in you should see John Wick. It's bloody awesome. But I would like they're all new enough that people mightn't have gotten around to seeing them yet. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I just like when I'm like, dude, have you not seen this before? He always gives me that, dude, I put my time into good films. So I have to watch the crap for the GoreCast. My free time is for good films.
We
and
don't
I'm like,
exclusively
this was a good
review
film.
crap, by the way. Just to let you know.
I saw the trailer.
Who are you talking about?
We don't
What?
exclusively review what?
Crap.
Sorry, I was looking.
Talking about me?
We don't.
Yeah,
That's like talking about like I'm not here.
But you are here. That's the.
talking
That's why
about
I'm
him.
doing like
You
front
being
of-
here in front of us and not listening while we're talking, and
I mean, I do have a couple of distractions, so I might not be hearing everything, but
that's fine.
Makes it all the funnier.
That's fine. Anyway, we done on Die Hard?
yeah.
Okay, we're going
Yes,
to
I
hit.
think so.
We're going to hit.
Go see it.
Yeah, go see it. It should be out in cinemas soon. Yeah. So here's the. We're going to come on with the trailer with Die Hard, and then we'll be back where we're going to be talking about a young child who got left at home alone during Christmas, and well,
Then grew up to be a serial killer.
serial killer. Yes. Kind of. Well, most certainly did. We'll get into that. I'm liking this. This is like you and me redoing our American Horrors episode to a certain degree. I've validated that Die Hard is a Christmas movie. I nearly screamed at a young child for disagreeing with me. If that isn't indicative of the festive season, I don't know what is. Anyway, we'll be back after the trailer for Die Hard, where we're going to be talking about Macaulay Culkin and a whole bunch of other people in Home Alones.
We thank you one and all and wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
It's Christmas Eve in L.A. But a team of terrorists.
You want money? What kind of terrorists are you? Who said we were terrorists?
Have their own holiday plans.
And I'm telling you, you're just gonna have to kill me. Okay. We do it the hard way.
But the one thing they didn't plan on was New York cop John McLane.
Got invited to the Christmas party by mistake. Who knew? Really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Yippie Ki, mother.
And you'll have it.
They have already killed one hostage.
This channel is reserved for emergency calls only.
Lady, do I sound like I'm ordering a pizza?
Come to Papa, honey. You really an American? Only if New Jersey counts.
What does he think he's doing? His job.
They're using artillery on us.
You idiot. It's not the police. It's him.
He's an easy guy to like
Welcome to the party, pal.
and a hard man to kill. Bruce Willis. Die Hard.
Right, that's the end of that chapter. That's not from Die Hard. I just like saying it, just to let you know. Right, next up we have, once I get the trailer loaded up. Oh yeah, do a podcast, bring on some trailers, have it with your friends.
Hey, so Giz, Bill told me to look up Die Hard song by Guys
That's what
Night.
Giz
Is
was
that what we
attempting
were
to
talking
sing
about
earlier,
before?
and Giz also asked, could we play?
Okay.
Just
I
to
just wanted to make
clarify,
sure.
Bill, Giz did ask, could we
You
play
like-
that instead of the trailer? But due to the fact that YouTube like effing us in the A, I said no, because technically we'll be playing somebody's music. And they tend to frown upon that. And frown upon you playing trailers. And just generally frown upon you. Yeah.
They're just a big bunch of sad gusses.
They don't like us.
It's not that they don't like us. They just don't like us.
Yeah, that's all about
Weird ways. So yeah, Bill, I will be checking that out because, like I said, I'd never heard of it before. Giz was talking about it before the show, so I'm kind of looking forward to checking that out.
Oh, no, that's right.
Oh, it's great. It's great.
Okay, anyway, next up, I'm going to let you guys take it away for a second. Oh, no, wait, I might have actually done this. Oh, computer, you're doing things at a normal speed. No, you're not. You're freezing. No, you're doing things at a normal speed. I apologize. Right. Next up, we have Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone. Sorry for not looking at the screen as much as I normally do, by the way, but my computer is messed up, as I mentioned before, so my actual monitor is over here while my camera is yonder. So just one moment. GoreCast over. There we go. Oh, you're huge. We'll just shrink this down here.
No.
Lovely. And then... So
Where you
anyway,
were.
Home Alone, telling the story of Kevin McAllister, who all of his family, who appear to be filthy stinking rich, but there's a whole theory behind that as well, are all getting ready to head off to Le France for the holidays for some reason. I don't know why of all places you'd go France for Christmas. Like,
Because he has a brother-in-law over there.
is the
They're staying
brother-in-law
with them.
actually living in France?
Yeah, when they get to France and they ring back, it's it's a brother. Or there's definitely a relative there, and it's their apartment.
Okay,
it's his
okay,
apartment
okay.
that they're in.
Right. So it's not that he was fronting money for the... Right, okay. I always thought it was like he was fronting money for a whole hotel and everything. So it's like, it's actually the brother's apartments they're going over to. Okay.
Yeah, when he calls back and they're all around watching French TV, that French black and white movie, they're in somebody's apartment. It's like a brother or a brother-in-law, something like that.
Anyway, all of the family are staying over in Kevin McAllister's house the day before they go to travel because they're all going to be flying out together. Due to a unfortunate series of events that I have to say, storyline-wise, is so well orchestrated because, like, if you think about the actual realisticness of Home Alone, like, the chance of a parent buggering off to France and forgetting their kid is kind of highly unlikely. But if you look at the series of events that they set up that lead to him being left behind, it's so well orchestrated that you kind of buy it.
To be fair, every single person in the house is an asshole anyway, so I could totally see it happening.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. At one point, like you do, I don't know, man. At one point, you do kind of do like a head count when you start doing stuff. Like one.
Well, they
okay,
did
we're
do
good.
the head count.
Like,
It's just that one of the neighbours' kids happened to have his head stuck in the van at the time.
Yeah, because he was going through the...
Although,
that's
if you
right, that's right.
if you count the head count, your one that did the head count still got it wrong because she counts herself twice as she's doing the head count. So, funny note, just for anyone who...
I just honestly, the one thing that stuck with me every time I rewatched is the fact that like every single member of the family seems to be a dipstick in one shape
his mum and dad
shape
are
or
okay.
form. Even like the mother is all right, but the dad is.
Look, if the dad's guilty of anything, it's... Well, if he's guilty of anything, it's he works for the mob. That's what he's guilty of. But that's never told.
It's also, if he's guilty of anything, child and danger.
Yeah.
Thanks, Hunter. If he's guilty... Sorry, what was that? If he's guilty of it...
I said if he's guilty of anything, it's child endangerment.
Yeah.
Okay, would you stop saying yep so we can hear me, you goof?
Okay.
As I said, every member of that family is a smeghead.
It's well, like...
That's okay. Jesus,
I
forgot about
don't
that.
think they are, though. Like, the the cousins are a-holes. The older brother is an absolute a-hole. Uncle a-hole. His wife's
Uncle
all right.
Cheapskate.
The mom's just angry, but Kev is being a bit of an annoyance, and she didn't do anything outside of what typical angry mom would do, in my opinion. But it's the weird series of events that leads to happen. Like, there's an argument over pizza, milk gets spilt all over the table. Unfortunately, Kevin's tickets are left at the bottom of the pile, so when they lift the pile of tickets up, Kevin's tickets are welded to the table because of the milk. And as the dad cleans everything off the table, Kevin's flight tickets end up in the bin. So when they do the count of all of the tickets that are there, all the tickets are there. When they do the count of the people's heads, even though your one miscounted herself twice, all the people are there. Because if you remember correctly, the kid that the neighbor's kid that has his head in the taxis that are picking them up, he's even wearing a kind of a hat very similar to what Kevin wears. You know, I always found that kind of fascinating. Like, it's such an odd thing that you'd be like, I couldn't see that happening in real life, until you see the set of events that they line up to it, and you're like, I could buy it.
Right. I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. Either way, it played out to be a good movie.
I'm mad to see you crap on Home Alone and justify it.
People. What?
And it saw the nascent creation of what has turned out to be a fantastic series of serial killer films in the form of The Collector, The Collection, and the upcoming The Collected.
Before we start getting into that, let's at least get through the freaking movie review first, bro. Okay. Because I know
this is what leads into
the
it.
movie review leads into the bloody.
I know. He's been.
Yeah.
He's been left
So anyway,
behind.
Kevin McAllister gets left behind on his own, so he's got to fend for himself. Which, oh my goodness, that's bad enough. But unfortunately, his house has been cased out by two dastardly and possibly two of the most nefarious killers on the planet, known as the Wet Bandits. Harry and Marv. They're fantastic. Awesome. Some would say highly incompetent, but they're bloody fantastic. Hey, I'll tell you, their ability to not be incompetent in incompetence is a skill in itself. Do you know what I mean? So Harry and Marv have been casing out because Kevin's family, as I said, they're loaded for reasons. Yeah. Have you never heard this theory? There's a whole running.
No, my theory is that.
Yeah, that's not your theory. Everyone has that theory.
I've heard guesses.
You never came up with that theory.
Hang on, I came up with it before I realized everyone else had it.
If you've come up with it before
I realized everyone else had it.
Right. Okay. Right.
It's a thing that happens. People can have the same thoughts and not realize other people have had them.
Okay. Anyway, where were we? Oh yeah, Kevin McAllister is now locked at home. He's having to fend for himself, which there's a whole slew of days where he's cooking for himself and trying to do the adult thing. He even does the famous shaving scene with the infamous. Eventually, it gets to the stage that he realizes that these thieves are trying to break into his house, so he manages to deter them in a couple of very ingenious little ways. He manages to give them the impression that the family never left the house. You know what I mean? There's a big raucous party going on, and hi, Kamikaze's son, I would like to say hello to. I just got a message there. I don't know what your name is, but hello. Oh right, I just realized what he's talking about. He's talking about you kids. Kamikaze said hi.
Yeah. Kamikaze keeps saying you're their son.
Okay.
Sorry, it took a minute there for me to register what was going on for a second.
Because they were like, "Hey, Johnny Gibbs, what do they call him? Hat guy and season." So like the whole thing took me a second.
Yeah. So anyway, loads of funny things happen. Eventually, the two awesome criminals realize that his family are definitely gone to France and the kid is locked in his house on their own, which should pose no significant difficulties for breaking into the house. Oh, how wrong they are. And dead several times, because Kevin McAllister's a straight up murderer. And before we get into the theory of what's going on, it's the Home Alone movies that solidified this theory for us, right? So
he's not a murderer.
So
did you ever see him do
yes, he is, you went.
So
did you ever see him do the Uber thing later? It was like a short YouTube video thing he did.
Oh yeah, where he did Grown Up, Kevin McAllister?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was like an Uber driver. Dude, I was rolling on that.
I actually really like Macaulay Culkin's YouTube channel. There's some really good content on it.
I have not actually checked it out. That was the first that I'd seen of it.
That would have been the first I'd seen of it as well, but it was after that then I was like, oh, I didn't know he actually had his own YouTube channel. Then I started watching it, and he shows up on a couple of podcasts that I listen to relatively regularly, like Brian Brushwood one, things like that. Like it's so hard for me to take a drink because it's like, do I go over the mic? Oh no, I can't go over the mic because there's a wire.
Hey, Buzz.
It makes it look like I'm actually completely buzzed, but I'm not.
It says, "Hey, Buzz, family looks like they're being held against their will to appear on the internet."
They are.
Leaving
the thing is, I'm the one in the most discomfort over here.
Yeah, Kevin McAllister, and there's actually, if I can't remember the name of the YouTube channel, but if you get a chance, you should go look it up. It's essentially this guy who's a doctor. And he goes through kind of movies where, people receive lots of damage and don't be affected by the damage the way they should be. I believe between Home Alone 1 and 2, Marv and Harry and Marv die. I know Harry dies 30-something times.
Oh, dude.
It's great because your man just has this like robot voice that does the it gets hit in the face, cranial contusions and fractures. Harry is dead. Falls downstairs from 25 feet, broken ribs and spine. Harry is dead. And Home Alone 2 is even worse. Like Home Alone 2, there's nearly an exclusive 60-minute or 60 seconds of that video that is just like, Harry is dead. Harry is dead. Harry is dead. But yeah. Giz and many other people formulated, and it's very validated. There's a theory running around that if you happen to look at, there's a very very good series of horror movies called The Collector, The Collected. Oh no, The Collector, The Collection, and The Collected, where this guy's a crazy masked serial killer that essentially in the first movie he kind of breaks in home invasion style and booby traps all over your house. So when you try to run away from him, you get absolutely annihilated. And it's, granted, a much more visceral, much more ferocious, and much more I will murder you style of home design than Kevin McAllister would have done in the first movies. But as I said, if you happen to look at the actual damage in real life that Kevin McAllister did, he managed to kill 2 people 35 times. So, yeah. So we've always disputed, was Kevin McAllister in fact the collector? Because it's like, I'm after getting left alone on my own at Christmas twice. And both times that I've got left at home alone at Christmas, 2 freaking burglars try and murder me on a regular basis. If that isn't an excuse for a young child's brain to just go, right, I'm murdering people. Like if you look at Becky,
not to mention,
like if you look at the movie Becky, it's the same kind of scenario with Becky. Do you know what I mean?
Dude, right. Somebody said, I can't remember who now. I think it was Sweet Rabbit that said Becky was the better version of Home Alone.
See,
no, the collector's the better version of Home Alone.
You see, the thing is, the family aspect is also what drives the collector, because if you look at it, the first film is very much, his targets are families.
Yes.
So that goes from the notion of he's been abandoned twice by his family, therefore families mean nothing and they're something that can only be torn apart eventually.
Yes, 100%. It's a really fascinating
Becky's
theory.
Rambo.
The other theory that I was getting into is that there's, if you look at Kevin McAllister's dad, now granted, when Marv shows up and has a chat with the dad, he is a criminal, but he's dressed as a police officer and he's trying to do the rounds and all of this kind of thing. But the way the dad, when he asks what he works as, the dad completely avoids the question and just moves on. And everyone's kind of been like, he's into some shady shiz. Do you know what I mean? It's just, hey, so how are you earning so much money? None of your goddamn business, Piggy Wiggy. And that's what that is. Anyway, you know what I'm saying? And then the fact that there's always this notion of all these gangster movies keep getting, like, old school vintage gangster mob movies keep getting played throughout Home Alone. Do you mean it's kind of like, are they trying to tell me something? I think they are. You know, I'm not saying he's like a head of the mob or anything, but he could definitely be some mob's accountant or something like that. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Doing the books,
cooking books, even.
Joe Pesci involved. So,
well, and I mean, like, you got to look at all the
stupid.
traps that McAllister set, dude. Like, this was not just kind of I think I can, like, draw some string and trip him. Like, he was looking to, like, mess some people up.
Oh,
dude.
yeah, dude. If you swing a full paint can at anyone's face,
no, I'm just saying, like, this was not normal. Umpteen-year-old, like,
okay, well,
how do I, like, hide in the closet and be safe? He's like, paint cans, that'll do some damage.
Tell me if I have the order of events wrong, but let's break down the series of murder through through Home Alone 1.
But also look at, like, the slow torture.
Oh no,
like, I'm
working.
Escalation of defense.
Jesus Christ, we're going to go through all of it one by one, and we'll just see what we think. So Marv shows up to the house, and Harry show up to the house initially, and we get Harry flies down a load of stairs that have been iced up, and they're like a really steep set of concrete stairs, which is that's you're broken up completely after that anyway. Number one.
This is after they get shot with the BB gun. That's the first.
Yeah, I'm not even counting the BB gun. Although I will say that was a steel bearing that came out of that BB gun, so it's an airsoft rifle. It's not a BB gun. Do you know what I mean?
His first
Harry goes up to the door. He burns his hand. That's 3rd degree burns. Like, that's such a bad burn that there's a visible M scar left in his hand in movie 2. He then opens the door, and the blowtorch literally cooks the top of his head. That's another set of 3rd degree burns on the top of your head, and you're probably going to have to get serious surgery because your nylon hat is now melted onto the top of your scalp. Okay. In the meantime, or sorry, not Harry, Marv. In the meantime, Harry is in the basement where a spider has been dropped on, or not a spider, a full flat iron has flown from what is 3 stories up in the laundry chute.
Wait, hang on. You're missing the part that. You're missing how Harry got down to the basement.
Through the stairs that were iced.
Because he slipped
down. I literally said that very first.
You said that from Marv.
I might have got the names mixed up. Well, did Marv fall down a set of fucking...
He iced up both sets of stairs.
The other one slipped down the
Okay, well, they both slipped down icy stairs. So the one I was talking about was the one that was, like, I said it was a seriously steep set of steps.
Yeah.
Either way, he changed both their hat sizes in that very moment. Like, they cracked
instantaneously. And broken ribs. I mean, Marv, I won't lie to you. Marv probably could have dislocated a shoulder or broken his back. Like, the way at least Harry's slide down the stairs.
Dude,
although I don't know if it's worse to slide downstairs or just fly off 3 steps. Either way, it's not fun landing. You're landing back spine.
Honestly, when you're going down the stairs, you hit the steps. At least with the other one, it's just a bit of voice of experience there.
After that, as I said, Marv gets a full flat iron in the face, and then very quickly afterwards walks up a set of stairs and gets a 9-inch nail through his foot. And he gets tarred and feathered. There's the paint cans in the face.
No, I think you're mixing them up because
I've given up on trying to do them in order now. I'm just doing them as they come to my brain.
Yeah, no, not in order.
What?
Because Marv got tarred and feathered, Harry got stabbed through the foot going up the steps.
And then the other one with the iron in the face was
Harry.
Stern's character. I can never remember.
Harry is tall, Marv is small.
Okay, so Harry's the one that got the iron in the face because he was in the basement.
That's what I said. I know I had that right.
I don't know.
If you actually look at
the names,
if you actually look at it, it's an escalation of from the stuff on the outside is more or less a deterrent. You know, there's nothing inherently lethal there, but it'll break you up.
This all lends back into the collector theory as well, because if you look at the way the collector sets these traps up through their house, the initial traps that you run into are more like, I'll mess you up a little bit, but you'll be fine. Well, you won't be fine. You're going to have bits missing, but you'll survive. Do you know what I mean? And then until you get into the later rooms where you're like, oh, this window's definitely going to be easy to get out of. Oh no, I've got a bed of nails in my spine. Oh, good. I'm glad he found that funny.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't?
What other crazy viciousness? They got dropped out of the third story of the house with the zip line.
I'm not gonna lie, man. Harry, when he's in his bare feet, landing on all the Christmas decorations, that was not a pleasant time.
He tortures before he murders. It's great.
And he like keeps getting up, stepping in more of them. They're like exploding. That's my favorite scene. He's like, why do you look like a chicken? Why the hell do you got your shoes off?
Micro machines on the floor.
Even the way the shoes come off is because Kevin's tarred the entire stairs leading up to the nail, so he ends up having to step out of the shoes, which is ingenious as well. Like for an 8-year-old to be kind of like, he could be wearing some thick-ass boots. I'm going to need to make sure that these boots get taken off before he stands on that nail. What's the best way of doing that? Weld them to the stairs.
Very kind of.
He covered a few extra steps as well that, like, before the nail gets hit, he's barefooted, just to be sure.
Yeah.
This was a movie that was very similar to Gremlins, to where it was like only in the late 80s. Just wait till I say it. In late 80s, early 90s, were they able to market this as a children's movie?
Oh, right, I get you. Yeah.
But the one scene towards the end when they go through his whole, fun house of madness, they're upstairs. He goes, Kevin goes through the rope thing into the treehouse. Marv comes out. Where is he? Maybe he committed suicide. I was like, I don't think that would be okay in 2021 for kids movies.
No, you have to say in credit to a kid to get two men that furiated that they're actually. I hope that child killed himself.
And also it's very dated, because then it was like when he goes in there, he's like, I'm gonna call the cops. He's in the treehouse. He's like, he's gonna call the cops from a treehouse. Like, now you can do that.
Yeah.
Cell phone. Back in the 90s, they didn't have, let me pull out my iPhone and call the cops from a treehouse.
Right.
So good, dude. Yeah. I know we reviewed Freaky recently, but the fact that they actually used Google to find out what the whole demonic thing was in Freaky, I was like, thank you. How long have mobile phones been out and no one has Googled anything about this stuff? Do you know what I mean? I'm like, finally, it was nice that all of this thing didn't take 50 minutes to figure out. It was just like, oh, what's the name of that thing again? Oh, here's the stuff. I'm going to have to go to my Spanish teacher, though. They did leave out the fact that
like books.
Okay,
what are you on about?
But you know what? I showed that movie to a friend of mine, and they applauded that same moment. They're like, Google, about damn time. Like, they appreciate
the only thing that would have impressed me more is if instead of going to the Spanish teacher, which I know you needed to go to the Spanish teacher because it made for a funny scene, but the only thing would have been like, why didn't you just copy and paste what was written in Spanish and put it into Google Translate?
Right.
Although, in fairness, your man is so stupid in Spanish that he wasn't even sure. He was like, I think it's Spanish. We'll bring it to the Spanish teacher, because if she doesn't know what it is, we know it's not Spanish. So that's step one sorted, I
think he also said that if it was Spanish, it was a very old version of it.
Yeah. Google Translate would have given it a go anyway.
I don't think that Freaky's going to be one of those movies that's going to be like slowly appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us appreciated it rather quickly.
Yeah, instantaneously, I would say. I enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah.
Getting back to Home Alone just briefly, I'm not going to lie. I watched this film in a very abridged version. And by abridged, I mean I pretty much cut out a lot of the stuff with the family and just stick with all the Kevin being a mad homicidal maniac.
What I'm hearing is by abridged.
The early collector version.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. I was like, what I'm hearing by abridged is I watched Kevin McAllister kill two people through the Home Alone movies without any of the other storyline, and then just put on the collector.
Yeah, they left him, but here's the good part.
That's what I used to do with Gremlins when I was a kid. I'd fast forward all the non-Gremlin stuff when the Gremlins came. I'm like, there we go.
If you're going to fast forward to anything, the only thing you need to fast forward to in Gremlins is the woman getting flown out the window off her stair lift. Classic.
Guys, remember when you had to do that with the button and everything?
Classic. Yeah, Home Alone. Such a good movie. And it led.
Yeah.
It's so good. Because I won't lie to you, even if it's not canon that Kevin McAllister is the collector, you know for a fact that the guys who made the collector were like, what would happen if Kevin McAllister went psycho? Is basically, do you know what I mean?
You know, and I like, don't get me wrong, man. I like the movie, but like, I've seen it so many times now. I didn't even have to watch it for the show.
It still makes me laugh though every time.
Oh, it does. Don't get me wrong. But when it was like, hey, this is our lineup, I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna watch that because I haven't watched Die Hard in a while. And oh crap, I don't think I've watched a Muppet Christmas Carol since my kid was like 8. Gonna have to rewatch those.
Oh,
like,
don't say that. It's going to be the book conversation all over again.
It's going to be the what conversation?
It's going to be the books conversation all over again. You haven't watched it since she was 8?
3 hours later. You stupid idiot!
But you know what? The fact
you just made the list.
Been that long, and I sat down, and I completely forgot how much I loved that movie.
Christmas.
Like,
It's
it
so
was
good.
awesome.
Michael Caine, great. Miss Piggy, great. Kermit the Frog, great.
Oh my god!
Your man,
there was so many things.
Tiny
I
Tim
forgot.
kind of
It was
hammed
just
it up a little bit, in my opinion. But other than that, it's a good movie.
Should we get the children's opinions real quick?
Children, how did you find Home Alone?
Home Alone.
I think it should be a Christmas movie.
I don't think that's what we're asking.
No.
Tell them how you like if you like the movie.
It was a 100 out of 100.
Look at them. Don't look at me.
It was a 100 out of 100.
Got it. I really like it when he goes, ah. Got it. Perfect.
What do you think?
I'm only here for the blood and gore.
She's here for the blood and gore. That's not.
I love it.
What part of 35 deaths did you not comprehend, young man?
Yeah. Just because they're not bleeding doesn't mean they're. I know it looks like they're only dead inside, but
see the kind of violence is in that film.
There was definitely some.
Like every time they get hit with the paint can, there's a 10-12 foot drop that accompanies that paint can hitting them in the face.
Wow.
Oh yeah, dude. But you know what? Like, I always knew that Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern were funny, but they just, I don't know. They took like a whole new level on this one.
I love his logic for flooding all the houses as well. Oh, everyone needs a name and an MO. You know what I mean? It's all about branding. Being a burglar.
The scene where Daniel Stern
branding is definitely not what you want as a burglar.
On his face and has the highest pitch scream. Hey, you guys got.
Yeah, go on. You can do your scream if you want. I'm going to do this though.
Yeah, because you can't scream because people are listening with headphones. So don't scream. Okay, stop. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, this is the last family edition that we're doing because this is.
I like the energy. Dude, we're talking about Home Alone. If there wasn't kids running wild in the background, it wouldn't be applicable.
Okay.
But you're also like three people crammed into a spot. Yeah. My daughter was supposed to be here tonight, or supposed to be in the original slot. Dude, I moved us to the living room. Like, there was no way 2 of us were gonna.
That probably would have been a good idea, but I don't have other things. Like, I live in
computer living room festive theme, and I'll tell you, my knee is regretting it. Anyway, okay, we're gonna hit the trailer.
I didn't do squash.
About some puppets. And also some of Jim Henson's characters as well, as we talk about a Muppets Christmas Carol.
That's it.
Bye-bye.
Mom! Dad!
We stopped them!
Where are you going? Where are you going? We're gonna miss the plane!
Did you count him?
11, including me. 5 boys, 6 girls, 4 parents, and a partridge in a pear tree.
Did we miss the flight? No, you just made it.
Yeah.
Welcome aboard Flight 1275 to Paris, France.
I have a terrible feeling.
So which house you want to hit first, huh?
About what?
That we didn't do something.
Crowbars up.
Now you feel that way because we left in such a hurry.
Do we set the timers on the lights?
Mm-hmm.
Did you lock up?
Yeah.
Did you close the garage?
That's it. I forgot to close the garage, that's it.
No, that's not it.
What else could we be forgetting?
Kevin!
Home Alone.
This is my house. I have to defend it. Yes!
Starring Macaulay Culkin.
Up here, you morons! Come and get me!
Joe Pesci. Daniel Stern.
Somebody pick up.
Catherine O'Hara.
Pick up!
John Hurd.
Do you speak English?
And John Candy.
I got a feeling this is going to be your best Christmas ever.
Home Alone. A new comedy from John Hughes. Directed by Chris Columbus.
You guys give up, or you're thirsty for more?
Coming this Christmas.
Right, and that was the trailer for Home Alone, which was a lot shorter than I remember, but anyway. Anyway, next up, I'm going to let Giz take this away because it's literally Giz's favorite Christmas movie of all the Christmases ever made. Christmas.
Actually, just before I do, because I said it to you during the trailer, but I think it's important to say here. The fact that Hunter, a kid, really enjoyed this film just goes to prove that Home Alone, despite the couple of small bits and pieces like the treehouse phone bit, the fact that a kid still enjoys it and still finds it funny and relevant just goes to show how well made it is and how it stood the test of time.
There's a reason it's been called a timeless classic for so long, because it is like there's no time dated humor in it. Do you know what I mean? Everything's very naturally funny. It's not reliant on the times. bar the I'm calling the cops from the treehouse kind of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but apart from that, like it's all
But he's right though. A lot of films do kind of like wind up dating themselves and like falling kind of into the abyss. War Games. I tried to show that one to my youngest, and she was just like, "What is that, Dad?" I'm like, "Well, that's how we used to send fat." So you're just going to
so before text existed, there was letters, and after letters, there was a digital form of sending letters via telephone. But it still was essentially someone just mailing you a letter. It just let you cut the middleman out.
So like there are films that do not kind of like travel well, but like it says, Home Alone is one of them.
But there's no kind of
real quick though. Bill says, Baines, your volume is super low.
Is it?
That's what he says. I don't know. You sound good to me.
I don't know. Yeah, remember my mic is coming in different. I don't know. It's reading on full volume here.
You might have been turned away from the mic for a second, maybe.
From the mic or something. If I'm not aiming directly at the mic, obviously it's a bit low.
I'm listening to it back. It's played back like a couple seconds, and I can hear it fine.
Okay. Maybe I was just looking away from the mic for a second. I'll crank it just a little bit more just to be safe.
I think he just wants your voice in its
That's definitely not it. I can guarantee you that.
There's strong positivity out there.
Yes,
right.
And Hunter says
so.
Okay, and she says that you sound okay to me.
Okay, perfect. So I appreciate all of the assistance because it's very hard for me to tell what's going on or not.
And one more thing, they're watching, but they're not in the chat. Hey, Christy, what's up, man?
There we go. Everyone say hi to Christy. Hello, Christy. Right. So next up, Giz, take it away.
Yes, from one timeless classic to another timeless classic, as we take a look at Charles Dickens' easily his most recognizable story, The Christmas Carol, which is the story, of course, of Ebenezer Scrooge, a man who has spent his entire life basically living his entire life hoarding money, thinking only of himself, thinking only of business to the detriment of others, until eventually on Christmas Eve he is shown the error of his ways when three ghosts, well, actually technically four ghosts, he's first visited by the spirit of his former business partner, arrive to basically teach him the true meaning of Christmas by showing him the errors of his past how people represent the Christmas at the moment, and indeed where his life is destined to go should he keep along this path. This particular version, of course, is done with the goddamn freaking Muppets, and it's awesome because it's Michael Caine as Scrooge. It's Kermit the Frog as like fucking.
He's assistant, head accountant.
Oh my god! I
Tiny Tim's dad.
Was it
Bob
something?
Cratchit. Bob Cratchit.
Bob.
Thank you.
Bob the Builder.
Mrs. Piggy.
Can he fix it?
Piggy
Yes, I can. I can't do Kermit.
Gonzo as the narrator, Rizzo the rat as his able-bodied and mental
Able-bodied
assistant.
is a loose term as the movie goes on. I'm just going to point that out.
Oh, this is
Bill's
great.
kicking off. So, good night, Bill. Thanks
Catch
for
you
hanging
later,
out with
Bill.
us for a
See you later,
second.
brother.
See you later, Bill. Good luck. But yeah, no. To be perfectly honest, right? I've seen 4 or 5 different versions of the Christmas Carol, including obviously Scrooged, which was the modern interpretation with Bill Murray. There's a very good version from the 1990s with Patrick Stewart that does stand up to the test of time.
Really?
Oh yeah, it's very good.
Patrick
Very
Stewart
good.
make good
dude, I didn't
Scrooge.
know about that.
Yeah, and that's exactly who
I
it
will
is.
definitely check that out then. All right.
Yeah, but for me, the Muppet Christmas Carol just is everything because it's the Muppets, which is obviously a representation of childhood. It's a Christmas Carol, which is to this day probably the best and, like I said, most well-known Christmas story in that it tries to, without pandering too much to any kind of religion or anything like that, it does bring it into it because of the time that the story is set in. But generally, it is about the spirit of Christmas. It's about the idea of being good to each other for the sake of being good, of trying not to be a horrible, miserable bastard, even if you are one the rest of the year. Although, admittedly, this story, by the end of it, Scrooge has turned over a new leaf in regards to his entire life. And as they say, he tries to keep the spirit of Christmas in his heart the whole year round. This film, littered with comedy, which is obviously an aspect of the Muppets, but also it was dedicated to the memory of Jim Henson and directed I think by his son,
Yes.
Brian Henson.
Yeah.
What's interesting about this film is that the Muppets are categorized as having a great many musical numbers. The Muppet Show was basically a variety show. There was always musical
Yeah, there
numbers
was
there.
at least one song during the Muppet Show.
If not more, depending on who the
That's why I said there
guest
would be
star
at
was.
least one.
What's interesting about the Muppet Christmas Carol is that there are a number of songs in them, and each one is used to heighten the scenes. There's maybe 4 or 5, 2 at the start, and there's actually one that was cut out of the theatrical release and is only available in some versions. And it's set when the ghost of Christmas Past brings Scrooge to kind of show why it is that his heart is so cold, and it shows a younger Scrooge being in love, and then how he ends up, because he's business.
Really?
He's 100% about business. Now what happens is that got cut out because the basically producers or whoever thought that it kind of the kids wouldn't be able to get it. Yeah, kind of, yeah. But the thing is, the scene right between Belle walking away from Scrooge and the camera going back to Rizzo and Gonzo, and they're in tears. The reason they're in tears is because Belle has just sung this song called "The Love We Had" or "The Love Is Gone," and what's important is that song is actually then the repository of it is actually the end of the film, and it's the whole way through with "The Love We Found," which is that song that they sing at the end of it. That and when he's in the Ghost of Christmas Present, there's a song there. What's interesting is there's no song when it's the Ghost of Christmas Future, and it's all dark and depressing, and it's fantastic the way the atmosphere of everything just changes. You go from happy and jolly, and Scrooge he's being cheered up, to all of a sudden, this is the way your life is going to go if you continue to be a miserable, horrible git to
Even
everybody
the transition they do between the set pieces in relation to the different ghosts is freaking awesome, because I mean they're all essentially set within the one lifespan of this dude, but they managed to keep the tone of what that particular section is supposed to be, while also keeping a kind of I'm reluctant to say historically accurate, but you know what I mean.
No, I know what you mean.
What?
The color grading of it. The past is bright and beautiful. The present is normal. The dark is
the dark is like
dark
the
and dreary.
blacks are cranked up, the saturation's down low. bleak, miserable bleakness.
You know what though? Like, because this is a classic. You know what I mean? Like as an adult, you hear about it, you talk about it, stuff like that. This is the perfect transition to be able to get those young kids in there to hear that story in a fun way. Because like you know, like there's some films you sit down and like, oh, sorry, it's out. Like this is a classic, but it's like, you know, A Miracle on 54th Street where it's all black and white. You got to watch a film. Kids are not necessarily at a certain age accepting. Right. See, like Buzz is like, you know, but that's the truth.
And Hunter's like, yeah.
You try to like introduce your kids to classics, but it's a more adult kind of thing, and they're like, "Peace, Dad. I got better stuff to do," and they're gonna go play or like stare around, and then like 20 minutes later, "Who's that? Who's this?" I swear to God, just watch the movie, please.
You're reliving. I watched Die Hard with him. That's exactly how.
But you know, like A Muppets Christmas Carol was a perfect kind of medium between adult and kid. Like they got introduced to stuff, you got to share that with them, and it was just so well done, dude. Like I love it. But I can kind of see why they cut the love lost thing, because that may have been a little too heavy. Like at that age bracket, what have you loved? Barney, Blue's Clues, like, you know what I mean? So I can kind of see why they cut that. But the overall, like, this was such a great movie for the family to sit down and share this story.
Yes, totally agree with you.
Yep.
Silence fell over the.
That was awkward.
No, I totally agree with you.
What I was my thing was pretty much the same thing he said, because it's like you've seen the story of A Christmas Carol so many different times. The old movies, this and that. You've heard the stories. Some of us read the books, and then
yeah, I'm back again.
You know, just
you gone?
That yeah,
dude. The stream paused and everything there for a second, man.
Oh,
at least for me it did. I think my internet must have gone there for a second.
I don't think it paused on our end here.
Okay, it must have just literally been my internet.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so like what I was saying was like I liked how they were able to take a story that like I said we've heard so many times with either this or that, and not take it a different way. I mean, it is a different way the way they approached it, but I mean it's the same story of the whole Christmas Carol, but like he was saying, like done with the Muppets, a little bit more music, a little bit more comedy mixed into a story that has a lot of like heavy themes.
Yeah, it is kind of dark and adult.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Actually, there's something interesting that Bill told me during the week that I actually didn't know, and that's Michael Caine only agreed to do the film if he was allowed to do it straight, as in like if he was doing the role of Scrooge on stage or something. You know, if he
like
was not
doing a whole Waka Waka performance, pardon the
or something.
Which it could have easily slid into, and
but that's what makes the movie so good, because Michael Caine is in there as such a straight man, and the Muppets are completely the Muppets.
Exactly.
I mean, it really is like
it's hard to envision it being done any other way.
Yeah,
because like you get into a lot of kids' films and it's like overdone to where like the kids love it, but the adults can't
they ham it up.
it.
Yeah.
Right. Or it's too adult, and the kids are like, "Nah, later, Dad."
This is dark.
So now I've spent 2 hours watching the kids' movie, and they're like screwing around with toys.
They balance it out well.
Yeah. You know, and I think that's one of the things that I've always kind of appreciated about the Muppets. They, you know, like Johnny was saying when they did their show, you know, like they brought in guest spots and stuff like that. There was something for the kids to be enjoyed, but then like I got to watch.
Well, that's because it was originally aimed at adults.
Yeah, the Muppet Show was like, if you look at the very first episode of that show, it's not a kid show.
No.
The pilot episode was actually aimed at adults, and then they toned it back a bit and made it more kids-like.
Except for the Alice Cooper episode.
But that toning it back, though, to me, was a good balance.
And Marissa Berenson being a cannibal.
My God, damn, the Muppet Show used to be so good.
But that toning it back, though, is where that balance was between me and my kid. Like, we both could watch this show and both enjoy it. And that was, like, the key essence of A Muppet Christmas Carol.
Yep.
Also, anytime you get to see the Swedish Chef, It's good.
Put the chicken in the pot.
You know what? And I love the fact that they found a spot for
Speaking of characters that wouldn't fly in 2021, Swedish Chef.
No, actually, he was on the latest rendition of the Muppets. In fact, they were taking the piss out of him the whole time.
Oh yeah,
really?
It's like, yeah, the latest rendition of the Muppets is actually like an online podcast thing, and it came about shortly after the pandemic kicked off. So each Muppet has their own online segment. Swedish Chef is part of a cooking show. Someone else is doing a cooking show, and he comes in, and it's just like, I'm sure whoever's in there, like the human counterpart, is an actual proper cook or chef or whatever. And then the Swedish Chef is just like going nuts because they're like, no, you can't be doing stuff like that. What are you doing?
We put the chicken in the pot. No, we're doing a vegetarian curry. There's no chicken in the pot. But I put the chicken in the pot.
That is literally what happened the first one, I think.
You can't have vegetarian curry without the chicken in the pot.
For somebody who grew up kind of watching Henson's work, I felt like this was really just, it was him. You know what I mean? Like, I thought his son did a really good job because, like, I've watched later Muppet stuff, and it is not as Henson later.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
What it is.
Yeah,
this is.
But this was like, I felt like this was just the heart of what he had built in that moment, kind of thing. Or built
totally agreed. Yeah.
To be fair, it's the only one apart from the original 3 films, I think, that that I actually have. You know, I've got that. I've got the Muppet movie.
Muppet Treasure Island.
No. Muppet movie. Muppet Great Escape, I want to say, and then Muppets Take Manhattan. Muppets Take Manhattan. And even that third one is kind of like borderline.
Right. You know, and so like I'm not knocking it, but like there's like the son's version, and then there was like, you know, his dad's version. And I felt like, you know, he really captured dad's version.
Yeah.
And just sailed it home, you know. And then you get into like the whole color palette, like we were talking about earlier, like, and the songs, like, it's a perfect fucking movie, dude.
Yeah, man.
And I just realized the F word, so sorry. I've been doing really
we'll
good.
Get one apparently.
I think everyone's allowed one mulligan during the show.
Yeah, I was the last one to fall, though. Buzz, Johnny Giz, but hey.
My one happened off air, so screw you, buddy. Haha.
We're Irish. You should be impressed we haven't been saying it each segment.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. But no, so like I said, I felt like this was just a perfect, and you know, I haven't seen it for a long time, but when I rewatched it, I was like, dude, I need to start watching this more. I'd forgotten how good it was.
It's great.
I watch it every
It's great. And I love the songs as well. Christmas. Like the music in it's fantastic.
But now I see why you do it. Like, it was just that, like, hey, the kid's older. I don't really need to watch the Muppet film anymore. But now I'm like, holy crap, this was really good. Like, it is
engaging
on my ear. I'm not going to lie.
Right. I think on that, because that's a really good description to end on, we're going to hit the trailer for Muppets Christmas Carol, and then we're going to be back where we're going to say our goodbyes and let you know what's coming up for the rest of the week. Kind of. We'll be back soon. Boing.
I was going to have the kids give their opinions.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Come back.
That's fine.
They'll have time. The computer's frozen.
Dude.
Humbug. He was the greediest man alive.
It's Ebenezer Scrooge.
Until the night he met someone extraordinary.
Hello.
The Muppet Christmas Carol.
I'll drink to Mr. Scrooge, even though he is odious, stingy, and badly dressed.
Humbug. Oh, there goes Mr. Humbug. There goes Mr. Grin.
Do you think it's safe for us to be up here?
If they gave a prize for being mean, the winner would be him.
Yes, Mr. Cratchit.
If you please, Mr. Scrooge, the bookkeeping staff would like to have an extra shovel full of coal for the fire.
Our assets are frozen.
How would the bookkeepers like to be suddenly
unemployed?
Heat wave. Oi! This is my island in the sun.
It's Charles Dickens' classic tale.
Whoa!
as only the Muppets can tell it.
It's good to be heckling again. It's good to be doing anything again.
Filled with holiday warmth
Hey, light the lamp, not the rat, light the lamp, not the rat.
and Christmas spirit. Jacob Marley?
Oh, that's scary stuff. Should we be worried about the kids in the audience?
No, it's all right. This is culture. This is the movie to see, to share, to cherish with someone you love.
Thank you for making me a part of this.
Walt Disney Pictures presents from Jim Henson Productions, The Muppet Christmas Carol.
God bless us, everyone.
Whatever.
Alrighty. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I completely forgot to get the kids' opinions on a Muppets Christmas Carol. Hunter,
stand so I can see your.
what did you think of a Muppets Christmas Carol?
Look at the camera. Stop looking at me.
I think it was a very good movie. I have to give it a 100 out of 100.
Oh, good. That's a good ranking.
Can't get any higher than 100 out of 100.
And two thumbs up.
And two thumbs up.
I have to say, I appreciate how professional his movie reviews have been.
Except the fact that he can't look at the camera.
Yeah, well, look, we'll get the camera skills up, but I mean, the movie review, he's done his plot really quickly. He's got to his bits that he likes and his bits that he doesn't like, and he's got to the overall review, which is good.
And he hasn't rented and thrown away a bag of potato chips yet.
Well, he hasn't had a movie that he hasn't liked yet.
All right, Aaliyah's going to give her thoughts, and I guess she said she's using foul language. So.
Oh, okay.
Oh, here we go.
Go ahead.
It was pretty amazing to see Scrooge going from a total rat-ass bastard.
Oh my God!
I'm getting scared over here. What's going on?
Buzz, she's going to kick your camera off the table. Watch out.
They go to the beggars, and from the future part where he was a total rat-ass bastard to just going to a jolly old fucking dude.
Okay, you're talking. Let us have a go to Aaliyah for a children's review.
Well, I won't lie to you. She's been in it. She's been waiting for blood and murder the whole way through the show. I think she's just letting out some pent-out aggression.
So what I'm getting is that you completely missed the moralistic tale of the story.
I cannot wait to see her on one of like the adult, like, oh, dude, I don't know how old she is, but it's gonna be a fun show sometime.
15 in February.
Yeah.
How old?
15 in February.
Oh, man, I cannot.
That made my night, man.
She's gonna be fun. I thought she was gonna say like damn or something. Then I heard F words and B words.
Dude,
I was like,
dude, the face on you and me when she said "rat bastard" was goddamn. You and I were like, "This is not what I was expecting."
According to Sweet Rabbit, we have rubbed off on her too quickly.
Yeah. I don't know how we rubbed off on her. None of us have been cursing.
Yeah, we've all been really smegging good about it.
I used the word frick for Christ's sake. I never do that.
We got our TVMA rating back.
Yeah. I'm glad that happened because I did feel bad about that being advertised at the start, even though we weren't going to be. So at least she's got the F's up a good bit. That's good.
And of all people to do it, it was the 14-year-old.
I agree.
If that isn't a comment on modern society, I don't know what is. Anyway, that's goddamn. That's the Muppets Christmas Carol review over, unless she wants to blow our minds with any more curse words that she's learned over the last couple of weeks.
We're good.
Yeah, so thanks to everyone for joining us. Make sure to join Buzz and Carter this Tuesday, where they're going to be reviewing
Castle Freak.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to watch this because I actually didn't know they'd done a remake of Castle Freak, so I'm very much looking forward to it.
Dude, I didn't hear anything about it. I just happened to flip on Amazon and tripped over it.
It's on Amazon? Okay, I'm watching it when I go to bed.
So apparently it didn't really get like a bunch of push. I was just like, oh, it's 3 a.m. Cool. Castle Freak 2020? Watched it.
Okay, I am
Hey, bud,
down.
we have to do this for OVR.
I am
please,
down.
Please.
You're doing it Tuesday. So,
Yep.
mission accomplished. This Thursday, we're going to be always back with our group chat where we haven't decided what's going to be on Thursday yet. And myself and Giz don't know what's going to be on Sunday yet either because we're figuring out what our January run for American Horrors will be. But once you see the advert come out during the week, it'll be probably about that. Or something in the realm of that theme.
Good assumption.
It's a good assumption. And other than that, from myself, Giz, Buzz, Carter, and the rest of the Yunkin Trunk family. Wait, do you kids want to say goodbye first?
You want to say goodbye before we go?
Bye and peace.
Hey, wait, Hunter, you have. Do you need to? do you need to plug your YouTube channel? This is customarily what happens when people show up on other one's show.
Yeah. And
He's gonna look at me because he doesn't know.
and don't forget to also watch Hunter's World.
Hunter's World on YouTube.
Yeah, drop the subs.
You're shaking the camera, John.
It's okay.
Which is an awesome channel, dude. You're doing a lot of good work.
Just take them to Hunter's World on YouTube.
Hells yes.
Kids are bored. Go to YouTube and watch Hunter's World.
Yeah.
Darn tootin'.
Bye.
Bye. Bye and okay. Well, on that, from everyone here, bye and peace is evidently what we're ending on. No, it doesn't feel right. Sorry.
Since when do we end on peace?
Okay. From everyone else here at the GoreCast, we'll catch you all later, bitches. GoreCast out.
Bye. Peace. Bye.
Don't forget, if you enjoy our Madcap GoreCast horror hijinks, we stream 3 nights a week over on YouTube, Mondays, Thursdays, and Sundays, where you can see a little bit of this. Turd spoon, god damn, I knew there was something I wanted to bring up in the... God damn, I don't know what a fucking turd spoon is, but I'm mad to...
Yeah, it's pretty in-depth.
Most definitely some of this.
With a new 2009 twist. She pulls out of her vagina.
I'll give it to her, though, because, like, you know how, like, magicians kind of, like, do something and they pause dramatically? She took that dramatic pause.
And occasionally, some of this.
Our favorite Halloween movies.
What's up, GoreCasters? Welcome back here to the GoreCast. Yeah, okay, I'm here. I'm back.